Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Very Biased Opinions. Today, it is our preview of Oxford United versus Bristol Rovers. Now, Ian, the last match was called off against Northampton, so we haven't seen them play. We haven't had a huge amount to talk about. Is there any news, though?
Other than the fact that Northampton groundsman should be sacked and flogged through the streets of not only Northampton, but the whole of the UK.
Buckinghamshire, Oxfordshire, and Berkshire. All of them.
All of them, the Tri-County area. No news, obviously, other than that game being called off. No transfer news, despite saying that we're going to get players in. They haven't got any players in yet, and it's probably not surprising. And, I mean, probably looking more... they're talking about they're going to bring in looking at some out-of-contract players, which makes sense, because I was thinking everyone wants a centre-back. I'm thinking, which centre-back are you going to get? Who's going to come on loan just to sit on the bench? You have to look at players that are out of contract. And so it's probably just going to be a last-minute scramble on deadline day, let's be honest, isn't it?
Oh, I think Oxford fans love it when that happens, though, don't they?
Yeah, and there's still talk about the only name that seems to buzz around is Nathan Holland, because Gavin White went to Hull, as we know. There hasn't been... No one's come in yet at all, so it's as you were.
And on that note, should we get into this?
Yes.
Right, let's talk about Bristol Rovers. Currently in 19th place, Ian, and that's on goal difference because Rochdale above them and Northampton Town below them are all on 22 points. I have a quick
question.
Yes.
What's their nickname? Is it Bdizzle?
Bdizzle, Bdizzle, Bdizzle. They have two nicknames according to Wikipedia. It's the Pirates and the Gas. You always call them the Gas. Apparently the Pirates is an
official and unofficial.
Yeah.
The Pirates is the official one, but they always call themselves the Gas. Gasheads.
Well, the Gas are having a very poor season thus far. Only 2 wins in the last 5 league matches. Only 6 wins all season thus far. They've lost 11 times, which finds them just above the drop zone. Really quickly, Paul Tisdale's manager, is probably best known for his time at Exeter City, twice taking them to playoff finals, both times failing at the final hurdle. He's been in charge of Bdizzle since the 19th of November, 2020, following a year and a bit at MK Dons. No real exciting news. Tom Davies has left on loan to go to Barrow. I'd take from that what you will, but they did bring in Joe Day on the 4th of January to play between the sticks, but he's not brought them a lot of luck. Gas fans, get at us. Was that a good decision to bring him in? Have they looked better defensively?
More to the point, what must have Tom Davies have done to be sent to Barrow?
Oh, well, Barrow brought in a player from like Huddersfield as well or something. Like they've signed like 3 players.
Go from Bristol to Barrow. That's like going back in time 20 years.
I'm expecting them to come out in a 4-3-3 despite playing a very convoluted 4-5-1 or whatever it was against Crewe. I couldn't even make it out. It looked like it could have been a 4-3-3 or a 4-5-1, but Google, had decided what it was. Not a lot of big goal scorers. Brandon Hanlon, currently top goal scorer, 6 goals, 1 assist. Nicholson and Daly can chip in with goals. They've got 6 and 5 apiece, respectively. But in my opinion, what's really missing from this team is a complete lack of creativity in the midfield. Nicholson, Lee, and Westbrook each have 2 assists, but that just shows you how few goals they're scoring right now. And not only that, when you look at chances created, it's quite low as well. Defending is not their problem. It's only goals. Only 3 teams have scored less goals than this Bristol Rovers side. Not only that, when they do create chances, they have a huge problem scoring them. Against MK Dons, they had 17 efforts on goal, or 17 efforts, only 3 were on target, which is a really poor showing. And Ian, it reminds me of Oxford at the beginning of the season, where no matter what happened, they were like shooting from 30 yards out, or, they'd get the ball to Taylor and somehow he'd fluff his lines from 2 feet out, despite, it being harder just, to miss.
Yep.
They were genuinely woeful in their last match against Crewe. The first goal was a short corner that they somehow managed to work back to the guy who'd taken the corner initially, and he just slotted it under the goalkeeper. It was woeful defending. The go-ahead goal was only in like the 58th minute, and they just leave a man wide open on a free kick on the back stick, and you're just sat there going, what is going on? And it could have been worse. Crewe missed a wide open header from 6 yards out in about the 70th or 80th minute, so not good signs for Bristol Rovers coming into this. Technically, they have lost 4 on the bounce, having lost to Sheffield United in the FA Cup, which is, I know, doesn't mean a huge amount. You've lost to a Premier League side, but they also lost in the Papa John's World Championships to Wimbledon, which just genuinely, we can talk about how that tournament doesn't matter and losing to a Premier League side is, what it is, but it's still 4 losses on the bounce, which everyone at the club will be feeling right now. I expect them to play with the ball. I expect them to try and possess it, much like Oxford will. And I expect them to look like they're in control for multiple parts of the game without actually really threatening to score. If they win it, it's going to be by the odd goal. They haven't scored more than 2 since the 12th of December. So it doesn't look like a goal fest to me, Ian.
No, it doesn't seem like... And like a ton of League One games, it seems like whoever gets the first goal is probably going to go on to win the game, you would say. Biggest thing I would say is while Oxford, I think, will, if Oxford turn up like we know they can turn up, will go out and try and press high from the start and really put pressure on them. I don't see Bristol Rovers doing that. I think all they'll do is just try and almost like weather the storm a little bit and try and sit in the game and keep it to kind of 0-0 and then try and grow into it. I just don't see them having the players that really are that sort of a pressing style. And nor that like really Tisdale does that either. The other thing I'd say is they're not particularly good at defending set pieces, which is something Oxford have get better at as the season's gone on, and they do have players that could be quite dangerous, like Atkinson and like Elliot Moore from the back. So that's an area Oxford can look to exploit.
Excuse the interruption, but for the second week in a row, I've got to do a little bit of voiceover to announce another signing after we've recorded this video. Yes, Bristol Rovers have brought in another defender. They're so scared of what Oxford are going to do to them. They've signed George Williams from MK Dons. He's a guy who's played under Tisdale before, so I'm sure that they've got a lot of love and respect for one another. But it won't mean anything. It won't mean anything when Oxford absolutely smashed them at the weekend.
I agree with what you said about the Bristol Rovers side in terms of creativity. I think that obviously Hanlon's their leading goal scorer and he's a dangerous player. Westbrook's decent, but there's also McCormack, who hasn't I don't think you mentioned him. He's also a really good player they have. Yeah. And I think the 3 of them are the ones Oxford really need to watch out for in terms of like creativity at the top of the pitch. But in terms of Oxford's team news, I mean, we haven't played since since the game in the Papa John's World Championships. But before that, it was the 5-1 win against Burton, which seems a long, long time ago now. Yeah. And I know we all probably know what the team's going to be, but I'm going to read it out for shits and giggles. We are going to start with, I've even forgotten their names. I had to think then. What's his name? Jack Stevens in goal. It's going to be Ruffles at left back. It's going to be Long at right back. Atkinson and Moore centre backs. Goran just in front in a holding midfield player. 3 in the middle. It's going to be McGuane. It's going to be no.
McGuane left.
I'm talking about terrible.
No, he didn't.
Terrible. What are we talking about? Goran is going to be the holding midfield player.
Yes.
2 players in front of him. It's going to be Marcus McGuane, and I actually think Cameron Brannigan is going to start this game. I do. I think it's going to be the first start for Brannigan. I think he'll get maybe 60 minutes out of him and then look to replace him. But I think this is the start where Cam gets his place back. James Henry on the right wing. I think it'll be Mido Shadipo on the left wing. And obviously it will be James Constable up front. No, it'll be Matt Taylor up front. Of course it will be. And you would like to think that is going to be strong enough to beat this Bristol Rovers side. Although I will just say, Thomas, what did you study at university?
Sport, coaching, and history, Ian.
Shame on you! Shame on you! Shame on you for your history. You obviously haven't been brushing up on your history because this fixture brings shivers down the spine of all Oxford United fans. So we never, ever beat Bristol Rovers at the Kassam Stadium. I think they have won the last 6 league meetings between the sides, and you have to go back to 2011 was the last time we beat them at home, where it was 2 goals by James Constable and Peter Levin penalty. Remember him, Oxford fans? I barely do. So the weight of history is firmly on Bristol Rovers' side in this one, and I think that as a history scholar, you should be ashamed of yourself.
Ian, by the way, anyone who wants to see our score predictions, please have a click above. There'll be a card for our League One predictions in which we talk about this game mildly. But Ian, I've already told you, history is made to be broken. Records are made to be beaten. Teams are made to be smashed. And this is it. And I know I said this last year, and I say it every time Oxford play Fleetwood. But eventually it's going to come true, and I will look like a savant.
Well, we both backed them for a win. Or even though I was begging you, Thomas, to not back them for a win.
You were. You gave me some very friendly advice.
And I think that if you're looking at it, anybody looking at the game would think that Oxford, especially on the form they've been on and the form Bristol Rovers have been on, the fact that it does look like the honeymoon period might be over for Tisdale, you would feel Oxford will get the win. Although probably first minute of the game, Rob Atkinson slips on a banana skin. The ball hit someone. Hanlon shoots at goal. It hits a beach ball, flies in the back of the net. Oxford 1-0 down.
And on that note, I think we'll finish up. Thank you guys for watching. Let us know in the comments what you think the score will be. Please join us. 2:45 Saturday. We will be doing a live stream follow along. We'll be watching the game. Ian will be specifically commentating on that. I'll be providing updates for every score happening at 3 o'clock across Britain at that point, plus whatever FA Cup match decides to start at like 1:20 and 2:15 or whatever time they're kicking off. But we're going to be here. Watch it. Please give us a thumbs up, a subscribe. Check below for Grandstand Bettors. All our links. You know what? I'm done. You're done. We're all done. We love you very much. We'll see you Saturday.